Are you a teacher or are you someone who is in the process, like taking a B.Ed or a M.Ed course? Or are you someone still brainstorming on your career choices? If teaching is one of the careers that you are looking forward to, then I am here to help you understand who your audience is going to be. With this video, which is Who Are You Teaching Really? Understanding your students and your subject. Hi everyone, I am Shivani and I welcome you to this channel, Teacher in Making. Here in this channel, we are going to talk about uh, all the major topics that needs to be discussed but are not majorly discussed as part of the teacher training. So before we move on to the major chunk of this lesson, it is very important for us to understand that why does it matter. So most of the challenges that are taking part in the classroom today is not because that the teacher is not aware of what she's teaching, but she's not aware of who she's teaching. Now, when you don't want to make an effort to understand your students, what happens? So there is going to be lack of engagement in your classroom. Your students will not be interested to know what you are teaching. In the same way, you're not interested to know who you are teaching. Okay. Behavioral disruptions will be there in the classroom, difficulty connecting to the lessons, right? So now, what are those key areas that you need to understand so that you can make those 35 minutes or 40 minutes in the classroom a great success? So let's know what are the 5 major areas for you to understand. Starting with first, learning styles, interest and motivation, third, academic readiness, fourth, emotional needs, and fifth, classroom behavior patterns. These are the 5 major areas. Let's understand them one by one. Starting with the learning styles. Every student who is in the classroom have different learning abilities, different learning styles. For example, there can be some students who only understands by listening. So they are called auditory learners. They will listen and retain the information. There are visual learners who will see, they will need an object, they want to see a diagram, they want to see a flow chart, they want to look at something to understand and retain or imagine or retain the information. Then comes the visual learners. They will need an object or a diagram or a flow chart or to look at something to understand what you're talking about or to understand or retain the information. So we have already seen auditory learners and visual learners. Then we have kinesthetic learners who are a mix of both auditory and visual. So they need everything. While you are giving them a lecture in the classroom, they also need to see the object, like they need to visualize everything. So these are major students sitting in your classroom who have different learning styles, right? So it is very important for you to understand or to know through your student. Ask them that how do you like to learn? Okay, are you able to understand what I'm saying? Are you able to understand what I'm showing you, or both? Coming to the second point, interest and motivation. Students engage more when lessons connect to their curiosity, interest, or real life experiences. So, whatever you're teaching, if you're teaching math, science, English, a language subject, for example, some history, geography, connect it to the real life situations, or show them videos, like, bring digital softwares in your classroom so that the students take interest in what you're teaching. Coming to the third point, academic readiness. Students enter the classroom with different levels of prior knowledge and skills, because again they are all very different from each other and we have to respect each of them as they are and understand where they're coming from. So each of them coming from different, with different prior knowledge in the classroom, you have to understand and adjust your explanations according to the needs of the students. The fourth point, emotional needs. They come from different emotions, especially in today's time there's a lot going on in a human being. Now there can be stress that is coming from the parents or from the peers, or coming from just taken itself. Sometimes social media gives you a lot of stress, anxiety, personal challenges that a student has. So it is important again for you to know all of these areas. Classroom behavior patterns. Student behavior often reflects their comfort level, engagement, or frustration. Observing behavior can help teachers understand what students might need. So, talk to the previous teacher or the parents or peers. Have a conversation, understand who you're catering to and where is this behavior coming from. Is it some kind of a challenge or is it some trauma based? All of that is very important for you to understand. Our students have certain expectations from us, right? We are human beings and we have expectations. So, how these expectations helps us understand the teaching methodology that we have to choose as teachers for the students. So, let's look at this table here. What are students' expectations? What students want, and what this means for teachers? They are looking for clarity. What they are learning, why it matters, and clear instructions. They want to know that if they are learning a certain topic in the classroom, how is that topic going to help them for a long run in their life? What this means for you as a teacher? Explain concepts clearly, structure lessons well, connect learning to real life situations. Then they are focusing on fairness and respect. They want to be heard, they want to be treated equally. So, here, what you are supposed to do, you have to encourage participation in your classroom, respond respectfully, and create a classroom where students feel safe to express themselves. This is very important. Connection. Teachers who show interest in them. So students are looking for teachers who is going to connect with the students on a personal level with certain boundaries drawn. You as a teacher, because a student is still young, still learning, but you as a teacher has already learned a lot of lessons in life and you know where you have to draw a line, a thin line between your relationship with your students. Encourage your students for the efforts that they have made in the classroom. Forget in the classroom, even outside of the classroom, if you see them playing a certain sport, if you see them painting, doing some extracurricular activity, encourage them for what they are doing. Now that we have come this far and you know what are the gaps that needs to be filled, I have a small hack for you to understand your students better. This hack is a short student understanding form. This form will help you know the interest your students have, the subjects they enjoy, they struggle with, how they prefer to learn, what helps them focus in class. All of these key areas that I'm sure sometimes they also don't recognize about themselves. So this helps them to know themselves and for you to start a conversation with your students. So I will have this form linked somewhere for you to use it in your classroom. Tweak it as you want to. I will have a small reflection for teachers here. While you're watching this video, take a moment to reflect on these three major questions. Do I truly know my students as learners? What assumptions might I be making about them? How can I learn more about their learning needs? So you can learn it through the form that I have given you, or you can have your own areas that you can choose to know your students better. So what is next in this pillar? Now that we are done with this, you have a hack, you know your students better. I will have another video soon coming up which talks about the teaching methodologies, which is going to be different from the traditional way of dealing with the subject, right? It is again according to how your students needs to be taught. So I'll see you in the next one. Till then, make the most of this video. Take the form, use it in your classroom, and let me know if that helped you out. Thank you.